Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Ontario Aquaculture Research Centre. I'm your host, Kaylee Moore, one of the agricultural assistants here at OARC. If you're looking to learn more about aquaculture, you're in the right place. On today's episode, we have Nick Huber joining us to discuss what Waubetek's role in the aquaculture industry is.
Hi guys, and welcome back to our channel. I'm super excited to introduce Nick Huber today. He'll be discussing what Waubetek's role in the aquaculture industry is. So Waubetek is a business development corporation. Can you tell us a little bit more about Waubetek?
Sure. Waubetek is a business development corporation. It's Aboriginal owned and controlled, and we deliver business financing and economic development services to First Nations and Aboriginal businesses throughout northeastern Ontario. We're a member of the Community Futures Development corporations in Ontario, as well as Aboriginal financial institution in Canada. Our goal is assisting and strengthening economies of local First Nations, as well as the whole region through business and community development. And we support and facilitate a whole range of provincial and federal programs and initiatives, one being the Northern Integrated Commercial Fisheries Initiative, which is an aquaculture-based program.
I don't even think I know this, but where is Waubetek located in Ontario?
Sure, it's up in Manitoulin Island area, on Birch Island actually. So just as you're starting to get on Manitoulin Island, you will pass through Whitefish River First Nation, and that's where our head office is located.
Oh, nice. I went to school up in Sault Ste. Marie, and I've did a couple lake surveys with the MNR on Manitoulin Island, so I think I know exactly maybe where. I think I drove past your facility a couple summers ago. As a company whose mission is to improve the economies of the First Nation communities, what is Waubetek's role in supporting people within the aquaculture industry?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, we facilitate a program, Northern Integrated Commercial Fisheries Initiative, short form is NICFI. This program launched 2018 to 19 fiscal year. And what we do is as it relates to aquaculture anyways, we support First Nation communities that are interested in aquaculture. So within this program, we're able to not only provide support and guidance and technical advice, but we also have some funds that we're able to provide for particular projects. These funds can be put towards like business plans and feasibility studies and market analyses and environmental assessments and the like. So pretty well everything in a desktop or development exercise, then all the way through to equipment purchasing, infrastructure, construction, consultants, pretty well the whole value chain throughout the industry. This program is in place to be and support First Nations that are interested in getting into the aquaculture industry or continuing to improve on their existing facilities that they have into place. This program is designed to allow I guess myself, the Aquaculture Development Officer, to be a resource, an asset, and an ally for the communities to essentially assist with nearly every aquaculture related activity in nearly any stage. So as I mentioned, development or even pre-development all the way through to operation and post-operation. And one of my main focuses is to always ensure the best interest of the community is always acknowledged, and ensure that all projects are feasible and sustainable. And I'm also a free resource to communities and individuals and the groups that I serve.
That's awesome. I think that's a great position to kind of be there for support, in the sense of just like helping, you know, anyone who's looking to get started in any aspect in the aquaculture industry. I mean, it's a lot of knowledge to start up a facility, and having a resource like you around to just, that's free as well, to just, you know, have guidance and support is fantastic. What type of projects have you been involved in here in Ontario?
So we've been fortunate to be involved in a whole range of projects. A lot on the development side to date. So we've been involved in many business plans and feasibility studies. We've been heavily involved in a lot of environmental work. So if that's continual monitoring, or even baseline environmental work for facilities that are looking at starting up. We've been involved in purchasing equipment and infrastructure, asset mapping exercises, as well as we've been involved in the construction and deployment of some demonstration-sized facilities as well. Where we are here in Ontario is, although in terms of freshwater aquaculture, Ontario is the hub. And we do have a fair amount of aquaculture facilities in operation. A lot of the ones that we're involved in are moving through that whole chain of development. So we're right on that cusp of we have probably a handful and a half of projects that are either nearing or at that shovel-ready state, and we hope some of these facilities come online for construction as early as next fiscal year in the spring. So pretty excited about that.
No, that sounds like great news.
Yeah, it's been fairly impressive. Aquaculture is a great fit for a lot of First Nation communities. It makes a lot of sense, and because of that, there's been a huge amount of interest, especially with, unfortunately, this whole pandemic that we've been in. There's been a different interest that we've seen, one that has focused mainly around food security as well. Because of the pandemic and some of the challenges that we've experienced through that. So right across the board, there's been a lot of interest, and not just through one particular species as well. We've had interest, and there's projects involving rainbow trout and coho, tilapia, barramundi, Pacific white shrimp, sturgeon, walleye, Arctic char. So pretty diverse species as well that we've been looking at helping groups out with.
That's awesome. I got to talk to Mike McGuire. He was talking about like diversity in Ontario, and that being a big importance in aquaculture growth in Ontario. So I mean, it's fantastic to hear the diversity that is, you know, currently in works, and in the springtime, I hope everything goes smooth from here till then, so that you guys can break some ground and get all that on its way and being built, because aquaculture for food security specifically, like you mentioned, I know we've seen it worldwide. People really trying to get more information and learning more about, you know, food source and where it comes from and where it's grown. And I think it's this is really a perfect time to kind of like dig in and get into it and see it grow. So Waubetek supports communities outside of Ontario. Yeah. Can you tell me where else your services are utilized?
Sure. So within our program, again, through the NICV program, we're fortunate to be able to, for lack of a better word, play outside of the province as well. NICV supports communities from Ontario all the way to Alberta. So our area within this program is Ontario, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and Alberta. And there's varying degrees of interest across the board. We do have, I think it's about 4 projects right now in Saskatchewan, which is the first within this program this year. So that's pretty neat. But the other provinces a little bit further west, so Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and Alberta, there's not a lot of aquaculture activity, especially like compared to Ontario. So we're starting even more with a blank canvas. There's not as many examples that communities, hear about or read about or able to go and see. So it truly is starting with the education and knowledge component that aquaculture is a viable sector and something that they should really investigate and should be vetted as along with other larger industries, because there is a role for aquaculture to be played in nearly every community, and it's just a matter of being aware of it. So we've got a lot of work still to go ahead further west, but yeah, that's more or less our range, anyways.
Oh.
But I should note as well. This is a national initiative, so although we're focused just within central Canada, we have AQV, which is a program that services the east coast of Canada, and then PICV that services the British Columbia as well. So it is a national initiative.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that. So thanks for sharing that. I think talking about the reach of, aquaculture in the West, like you were saying, even for, Waubetek, like that's, the big point, kind of why I want to kind of get these videos out there, is to kind of grow that awareness of what's out there, and give people access, as much as we possibly can from a very isolated situation in a sense of COVID and not being able to have people come see. And this way we can also reach other provinces and hopefully people can get on here and, see this information and utilize that. So yeah, that's amazing. And hopefully with that blank canvas, you guys can have a good year moving forward and get some new projects out there, which will be exciting for you, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
You kind of touched upon what species are currently being grown, but can you tell us what type of aquaculture operations are currently producing fish and what species are they actually growing?
Sure. Well, there as mentioned, we've got quite a few projects that are working up to that, but there's a facility that or a community rather, that we've been working with that have been culturing walleye for about darn near 30 years so far, and it's an enhancement and rehabilitation facility. And their main focus is enhancing the population within their territory, and that being walleye, and they're incredibly good at it. We've recently been able to assist that community with an expansion of their facility, so now they've been able to double the amount of walleye that they're able to produce, as well as we've been able to look at producing fingerlings. So that quite proud of that community and all the hard work that they've been doing for over the years, and I think the work has really just begun, for sure. So that's pretty exciting. We obviously have many communities that are involved in the culture of rainbow trout via open net pen aquaculture as well in and around Manitoulin Island. We've got some great examples and probably some of the best farmers in the country, I would argue, here in Ontario. So definitely have a lot of pride behind them as well. We've got an Indigenous operation under a partnership, New North Fisheries, that are culturing lake whitefish as well in and around Manitoulin Island. We have many examples of smaller facilities as well, more geared towards education. They're kind of called like micro hatcheries. I think there's about 13 that are deployed in various First Nation schools or organizations. They're a small setup, essentially set up on about 2 desks or so, and they're involved in walleye production as well as, for the most case, brook trout or brown trout as well for restocking. That's been a pretty good program. Although small in nature, it makes huge impacts with the kids. It's a really handy tool with the teachers. It's embedded into their curriculums, and it's always good to trick the kids into learning when they don't even know that they're learning, right? They're in there learning about biology and math and science and pretty well everything, and having big smiles on their faces. So I've been in there watching the school children learn along with these facilities, and they're pretty jacked about it. So as mentioned, we totally expect to see other farms coming online here in the new year, and hope to be able to talk about them soon.
I mean, what an upgrade. I mean, I don't know about you, but as a student, like when we used to have a class pet, it was like a hamster or something. I wish we got some fish. That would be way more up my alley than a hamster. Yeah. That's awesome. I'm sure that's a fantastic opportunity. I think, I mean, I know for myself growing up, a lot of people don't really talk about fish, and where this, not even this industry specifically, but like outside of like, fisheries and things like that, that was never really discussed in any part of my childhood. I mean, I was fortunate to have parents that surrounded me with the outdoors and fishing and things like that. And but yeah, I think having that right in the classroom is a very simple way of bringing that awareness and that learning tool for sure. And that's awesome. I know you kind of talked about the interest in expanding into other species. So you talked about like the tilapia and stuff like that are going to be coming in the spring, hopefully. You did also kind of touch about how that growth can be supported, but is there anything else you could add to that question?
Hope I didn't screw up the interview. I'm not clear on your question.
Is there interest in expanding into other species? So like, how can this growth be supported?
Sure. Sorry about that. Yeah, so definitely. And it's a matter of finding what fits best for the community and what makes sense for the community and what they can get excited about, right? So depending on what that particular community is interested in, whether they want to enter the commercial space and growing fish for the commercial market to end up in grocery stores or hopefully restaurants going forward and various markets like that, or are they interested in just growing fish to address food security or just within their community? Or if they're interested in enhancement and rehabilitation or aquaponics. So when we start with the most important thing is to learn and to listen, right? To find out what's really important to that particular community, and then try to present options for their consideration based on what their needs and desires are. So based on that long-winded response, I would say we're always very much open to looking at emerging species or newer species based on the situation that we're in. Definitely, there are strong traditional ties with some species over others. So, for an example, sturgeon, like whitefish, traditionally have strong connections with communities here in Ontario, and that gets a lot of communities very excited. Whereas rainbow trout, which is a naturalized species, for some communities doesn't, get them overly excited. So we see lake whitefish as a huge opportunity, not only from the enhancement and rehabilitation, because we definitely believe that species needs a little bit of help in our native waters here, but even from a commercial point of view, we've got a lot of work ahead. But I think that one species that has great potential for sure. But it always is led by the community, and we have to prove that species is feasible based on their interest and where they want to go with it. And if it all makes sense, then by all means.
No, that's fantastic. That kind of leaves the door wide open to kind of have a discussion about exactly what you said, what works best and what is the most important for that community. And I think the support from Waubetek is very open door for that, in a sense of, let's talk about it and let's make it work somehow. And I think that's excellent because there's so many factors that play a huge part in aquaculture, and where you're located and what water source you have and things like that are going to play massive roles. So that's exciting for anyone looking into wanting to get into aquaculture, and knowing that it's not a B, like pick A, pick B, pick C, but just to kind of custom make what will work in your area for sure. So that's all the questions I have for you today. I don't know if you have anything else you want to add before we sign off here.
I probably rambled fairly well, I think. So I think I'm pretty happy.
Perfect. No, I want to thank you, Nick, for joining me today and sharing with us the work that you yourself and Waubetek is doing in supporting the aquaculture industry. I know for what I've seen and what I've heard through people in the aquaculture industry, it's very positive things, and I look forward to hearing about the new facilities that are hopefully going to be started in the spring, and hope it all works out.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and so do we, for sure. And thanks for the opportunity today to talk to you.
Hey guys, I hope you liked the video today. If you did, please swim on over and hit the like button and subscribe. Comment below if you have any questions you want answered in any of our future videos. Hope to see you next time.